Lonely Monk Productions. Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle of the Yo That's My Jawn podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren of WXPN. The premise of this show is simple. Each week, we bring you two songs apiece. One new song that has been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. Hey, what's going on, my friend?
All right, my friend, you are what's going on. What can I tell you? Hey, guess what? I'm going to see the Stones tonight.
Oh, hell yes. I thought about going because I've never seen the Stones and I know this is it, but I just couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, well, look, dude, as one of, to borrow a line from one of their songs, this may be the last time.
That's true.
I've been waiting to use that all week. What can I tell you?
Well done. I like it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going in with, even expectations. You know what I mean? And we'll see what happens. So, big crowd. I'm going with my oldest son. He's never seen the Stones. So it'll be cool. I'm psyched.
Well, I think we discussed
Very
it before, but I was pleasantly surprised by Hackney Diamonds. Actually made my top of the year list last year. So I got to think that they're still firing on all cylinders over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve Jordan on drums. Come on.
Yes, that's killer.
All right, what you got? What do you want to start with this week?
Let's how about we start with something new? And I mostly say that because, as I told you in the text when I sent this to you, I've been sitting on this song since April, waiting for it to come out so that I could break the embargo, because I didn't want to break the embargo. And I've been obsessed with it since then. It is a Harry Nilsson cover put out by Paige Stark. And it is the song "I'll Never Leave You" from Nilsson Schmilsson. Paige Stark just released this EP called "Good at Love," and you may know from Tashaki Miyake. She also recently just produced the Love LA compilation that was released for Record Store Day with a bunch of covers, LA artists and stuff. She's on there with doing a song with podcast great and comedian legend Mark Maron. It's the two of them doing "Sign DC" by Love. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But this song, "I'll Never Leave You," first of all, is one of my favorite Harry Nilsson songs. And it is her with John Bryan. So this was when I saw this come through on the press release, before I even hit play, it hadn't even come out. And I emailed Pamela at Siren's Call. Shout out to Pamela. And I said, who do I have to arm wrestle to hear this Nilsson cover right now? And she was like, "I'll send it to you." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." So
awesome.
She sent it to me, and I fell in love with it. And it completely lived up to it. And I'll stop talking so that we can hear Paige Stark right now.
Some days I walk away without you. The river's far too wide without you. Oh, I can't make it alone. I need you by my side.
I mean, the way she swings on those notes just absolutely owns me. And as I said, one of my favorite Harry Nilsson songs. Harry Nilsson is very near and dear to my heart. My father turned me on to Harry Nilsson when I was a kid. Nilsson Schmilsson was one of his favorite records. And my sister and I were tortured throughout our entire lives by my father. Anytime he had to wake us up, would stand in our doorway and poorly sing "Gotta Get Up." You would just hear "Gotta get up, gotta get out." So Harry Nilsson is in my DNA. And so this was a big softball right down the center and a home run to me.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I'm still stuck on the Paige Stark, Mark Maron collaboration.
I know. I thought about
how does that happen? Is she connected? Nobody, right?
I know.
Paul McCartney might be able to do a Mark Maron collaboration, but and not to dismiss whoever Paige Stark is, but who is Paige Stark that she can get a collaboration with Mark Maron?
She's got that connection. She was actually
All
on
right.
an episode of WTF, and spoiler alert, might be coming on Yo, That's My Jawn, knock on wood.
Okay. So listen, I didn't know who they were before you played her for me. And I listened that song. I want to go for, I wanted to go for a long ride with that song over and over and over. It's just gorgeous. And the rest of the EP that it's on is absolutely fantastic. So good pull, because I learned something new from it. So there you go.
Yeah, and you threw something completely on my radar that I knew nothing about. Tell them your new pick.
All right. So every once in a while, the Americans got to go to the UK to sort of have a career. And this is the case with a woman named Marley Monroe, who performs under the name of Lady Blackbird. And she, like I said, American-born jazz and soul singer. And she can completely belt it out and move mountains. One album under her belt already. She's got a new record coming out in September called Slang Spirituals. And this song, if you're dead, you're going to be reborn, because the name of the song is called Reborn, and you gotta just check this out.
I don't sing in the dead of night. I don't bleed from a country made. 'Cause we die a little to be born again. I don't blame anybody else. I take this on myself. The truth is I don't need her anymore. So I drowned her in flames, and now she's been reborn. So I drowned her in flames, and now she's
So there you go. There's a bit of a disco vibe to this song also. That it's very driving, and it's got a disco vibe. But man, I'm telling you, Lady Blackbird can sing her ass off, and I'm looking forward to hearing a couple more things from it when the record comes out. Very soulful, very spiritual, and just
Yeah,
like, all in.
I was blown away because it's got that feel of a sound that you don't hear too much anymore. You mentioned disco. It's got that kind of disco slash like mid 90s kind of like just a
Okay.
powerhouse vocalist over just a driving dancing beat. And this, like, I thought, again, this happens a lot that I'll hear something and I'm like, oh, wait, is this your old pick or your new pick? Because it kind of had that kind of retro feel to it. And man, did I
Yeah.
love it. And I definitely 100% have to track down everything that Lady Blackbird has touched, including, as I just found out, she used to like pal around with like DC Talk, which
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Back
It was
in
a
the
long
day.
It was a long ago day. So long day ago. Right. There you go. Well, I'm glad you dig it.
Yeah, it's awesome. One of the things, we were talking about the Stones and kind of the price there and stuff like that. I just read that Stereo Gum article that you shared about arena shows and how
Yeah.
they're all kind of underperforming and stuff like that. And there's one thing that I feel like they were touching up against that they didn't mention, and that is, I don't think we have arena-sized stars anymore. I really don't. Like, I think we have people who touch up against it and who, if packaged with other people, can sell out an arena. But I think the arena tour might be antiquated at this point.
I will agree with that. And with some exceptions, obviously.
Sure.
I think that's because the industry has changed pretty significantly in that there are short-term big artists, but in the same way that the music industry invested in long-term artist development and built artist careers, there isn't as much as that anymore. And I think that is I think that's a reflection on the way culture, popular culture, particularly in music, has sort of gone, right? Short hit, virality, TikTok, make an album, like, boom, you sell whatever, 25, 30,000, but then it's gone and you can't sustain that, But the article did point out, I think that's a really good point, Nate, by the way. The article did also point out that, the Black Keys, when they hit that moment, because there was a fair amount of artist development that went into that band, they just couldn't sustain it, And, there's a saying I learned in the restaurant business many years ago. You're only as good as your last meal, particularly nowadays. If
It's
your
true.
last meal wasn't like fucking yesterday, nobody's going to remember. But very good point, Nate.
It's
Totally.
true. And the one thing that I did like that they mentioned in the article, because I kept waiting for it, I'm like, somebody's got to say it, is that streaming numbers are lies. They're just lies in engagement with artists. And I think that a lot of people get gassed up that way. But, like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm mostly because all of the arenas are owned by corporations, and no offense, fuck them. But, like, I'm all about the independently owned, venue. But like the independently owned venue is the perfect size, because once you start to get to a certain size, you can't connect. No matter how much you love the music, you can't connect like you can in a small club or even a small theater. I think the Met is like my cap. That's where I'm like,
Yeah.
like the largest I like to go.
Yeah. So let me just say one more thing about that article. As I was reading it, and I would encourage everybody to read that article, whether you're in the music industry or you're a music fan or whatever, the thing that I kept thinking about was, wouldn't it be amazing if Irving Azoff and the Black Keys like actually talked about what the hell happened? It will never happen. It will never happen, because it can be super instructive. It's almost like I want an HBR case study. Like I want a Harvard Business Review case study of this thing, like where people just lay it out on the line and be honest. But that's not the way it goes. So, we'll see what happens. The conjecture and assumptions will continue. So what the fuck?
That's right. 98% of failures can be saved and explained if everybody just did a postmortem on them. Like everybody just needs, it's exactly like you said, if everybody just sat down, like I even think we could probably fix the music industry if we could just get enough people to sit down and just have the conversation, and like you said, be honest, like I honestly believe, and somebody will have to prove me wrong, and even if they do, I'm still going to pull the red string out and tie it around the board. But I honestly believe that labels don't want big stars, and that's why they don't have A&R departments, because they too much got burned by artists like Madonna and Elton John restructuring their deals back in the early 2000s, late 90s, and creating their own imprints and stuff like that. I think they don't want the artist to have that kind of power. So like 2 albums and out is a good thing for them, because they have 5 people on deck who will do 2 albums and out and be on with it.
That is also a really interesting concept, my friend. Wow. I have to process what you just said. Like, that's pretty crazy, actually, when you think about it. So you're saying intentionally, you're saying that major labels, I can't believe that. I wonder what Lucian Grange would say to that.
I think it's a tallest poppy thing. I think they're trying to keep, I think they like success and they like sustained success. But I think if somebody gets too big, like building a legend, which is what people used to do, like a lot of those artists that we all love, that we all know, that are icons, it didn't happen overnight. Like there was work put in to make those people the people they are. And I just don't think they're interested in that anymore. I think they want it to hit, and I think they want to move on.
All right, I'll sit with that. That's fine. And when you get Lucian on your podcast, I want you to talk to him about that.
I'm going to bring it up. Well, speaking of old artists that kick ass, why don't you give your old?
Okay, so here's the genesis of this old came a week ago when I went to see Charlie Hall, who was the drummer for the War on Drugs. He played a solo show here in Philadelphia of his album Invisible Ink, and he had many of the players on that album perform. Great, amazing, beautiful show at Solar Myth. He had 3 of his War on Drugs pals with him. An amazing drummer from Philly, Nazir Ebo. Rosalie performed Daniel Villarreal. And who am I missing? Oh, Corey the Wizard, Corey Bernhardt on keyboards. It was beautiful. The last song they did was a cover, and it was a cover of this song by the Love and Spoonful. It's called Didn't Want to Have to Do It. And, listen, there's 5 or 6, maybe 4 or 5 songs by the Love and Spoonful that many generations of people know. They had a bunch of hits in the 60s, Summer in the City, Daydream, Do You Believe in Magic? But man, Charlie pulled this deep, deep, deep track by the Love and Spoonful out and played it. So here you go. It's called Didn't Want to Have to Do It. It's Love and Spoonful.
was the time that I thought our love could fly and never, never fall. Why should I suppose we were never really meant to be close to each other at all? No, I didn't wanna have to do it. Didn't wanna have to be the one to say yes. Didn't wanna have to do it.
Gotta love a waltz.
That's the Love and Spoonful. Gotta love that song. Love that
beautiful,
song.
man.
So
like,
beautiful.
And it just swings. Like it absolutely swings. And the
Yeah.
like the vocal syncopation is just mesmerizing. Like it absolutely takes you and just carries you through everything, you know. It's beautiful. And shout out to Charlie. Invincible Ink is another brilliant album that, you know, made my top of the charts last year. I implore people, buy it on vinyl. It sounds so good, and I knew
Sounds
it
so
would.
good. Exactly. It's so warm. It is such a warm record. Anyway, it was a beautiful night. It was great. And what do you got up your sleeve here?
So my old one, I thought I'd go a little thematic here, and since I played Paige Stark doing a Harry Nilsson cover, I figured I'd take Harry Nilsson doing a Louis Jordan cover. The song I'm going to play is Early in the Morning, also from Nielsen Schmielsen. It shouldn't come as a surprise. Like I said, I'm as obsessed with that album as my dad was. But here's a funny story. I used to cover Harry's cover of Early in the Morning, cover of a cover. I remember one night I was playing at the Grape Room, and I remember I was like, hey, any Harry Nilsson fans here? And it was like silent. And I was like, any Louis Jordan fans here? And it was like silent. And I went, cool. I wrote this song. It's called Early in the Morning. And I just played it, and everyone was like, oh, it sounds really good.
It's funny. Oh my goodness.
So with that, here is Early in the Morning by Harry Nilsson.
I went to Doobie Chase to get something to eat. The waitress looked at me, she said, Harry, you sure look beat. I said, it's early in the morning. Don't you know it's early in the morning? Early in the morning, early.
So one of my favorite things that I'll call attention to in this song, that has always really charmed me about it is I don't know if anyone picks up on this, but they must have recorded it with the volume on the organ down so low that you can actually hear his hands percussively playing on the keys. And it just gives like a kind of sound that, like I said, you can feel like the percussive nature of the song underneath the organ. And it's just such an interesting choice. And to me, just works perfectly.
You know, Nilsson Schmielsen from start to finish is one of the greatest rock albums ever made, hands down. I mean, you think about it, right? It opens up with Gotta Get Up, right? We got Without You on it. We got Coconut on it. And we got probably one of the greatest songs ever used in a movie. I'm talking about Goodfellas, and you just mentioned the song Jump Into the Fire. Like, come on, like unbelievably great, underappreciated. Look, Harry Nilsson has been greatly appreciated by a lot of musicians over the years, you know, since he started putting out records in the late 60s, early 70s. You know, you don't automatically hear people go like Harry Nilsson, right? Like when people talk about the great singers and songwriters. But Harry, particularly Nilsson, unbelievable album. There's so much to learn from that record as a fan, but also as a musician as well.
And par for the course, I got to mention it. He wrote for the Monkees, so that's all that matters.
That's
right. So before we leave, I want to tell everybody there's a feature that you can see in the show notes where you can actually call in and leave a message for us with the podcast. Sadly, they're sunsetting this feature and it's going to be gone by July. But we got a message unprovoked, and I'm going to play it now. Bruce hasn't heard this yet. This is a message from a listener. His name is Ed. He's a magistrate judge in Lansdale. And he is actually the judge who married me and my wife. So here's Ed's message on the last episode we just did.
Bruce and Nate, man, thank you for the info on the Pace Top 300. Right up my alley. I had no clue about it. But I'm mad at you because now I'm addicted to Fishman's. I've been listening to Long Season on repeat all weekend, among other things. And it's outstanding. Keep up the great work. Love the podcast.
And there it is. See, we're bringing music to people. We're bringing information to people. We're doing the holy work.
Dude, I was on a mission for like 3 days. I still am on a mission to promote this band Fishman's that I played last week. I think I sent that to like 40 people I know, and all of them had the same reaction that Ed had. I can't believe this. I've never heard of this thing before. And I've listened to this whole 33-minute song like about 8 times. So that's good. And you're right. We are doing good work. Thank you, Nate.
That's right. And of course, I forget to mention this every week, but there is a playlist where we update with every song that we mention on here. It is awesome. You just, you put it on, you hit shuffle, and you're just going to hear good music for hours at this point because we have brought you some good ass music.
Good ass music. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's going to bring us to the end here. You can, of course, as I always say, follow us on the socials. I'm at Yo, That's My Jawn. You can find Bruce at Some Velvet Blog on all of them. You can also find Bruce on WXPN every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can find me on Why Not Radio from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. every Monday night. Plus, the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast is released every other Monday. This Monday, I have this incredible conversation with the band Athensville, and we talk about their music, and we talk about Tyree Wallace, who was wrongfully imprisoned 26 years ago. And spoiler alert for the episode, in the middle of it, randomly, unannounced, Tyree calls in and collect from prison, and we have a 15-minute conversation, and it literally gave me chills. So check that out. That'll be out on Monday. Bruce, thank you so much for doing this.
As always, this is number 10, right?
This is our 10th. That's right. We made a decade.
All right. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. All right, Nate. Peace out.
All right. Till next week, y'all. Too Old, Too New with Nate and Bruce is a Lonely Monk production, produced and hosted by Nate Runkle and Bruce Warren. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on your podcast provider of choice. If you have any music you think we should hear, or if you would just like to reach out to us, please feel free to email us at toooldtoonewmusicpod@gmail.com. And as always, thanks, and we will catch you next time.